Sheriff, I'm sure you've been watching some of the Donald Trump rallies. He was in Akron last night, and he was praising law enforcement, but at the same time, he was also talking about how some liberal policies have led to some poor conditions in the United States. Listen to this.
I want to take this opportunity to thank the law enforcement and police officials that are here with us tonight. And all across the country for their service and sacrifice in these very dangerous, especially for them, dangerous and difficult times. They are terrific. So thank you to law enforcement and police. Working with citizens and police, we will bring safety to communities across this land, but especially to those and these places that have not known safety in a very, very long time.
You know what, Sheriff, he kind of sounded like you did on this program last week, where he was talking about, just as you were talking last week, about how some liberal policies have led to poor conditions across certain parts of the United States.
You know, I think it's a brilliant move by Donald Trump to seek the black vote, to go out there and actually plead for it. I heard him pleading for black votes. You don't really see Republican candidates do that at election time and even, after. But the thing is, Donald Trump and I had a conversation when he was here in Milwaukee, and I ran that down to him, the urban pathologies, not just in Milwaukee, in Baltimore, and Chicago. Do you know that more people have been murdered in the city of Chicago since the beginning of 2016? 455 people have been murdered, mostly black, than coalition forces in Afghanistan since the start of the Obama second term in 2013. I mean, that's staggering in the United States of America, but there seems to be no sense of urgency on the part of anybody. These hellholes, cities. The American ghetto has replaced the plantation, where Democrats have a large segment of black people herded onto. Their miserable conditions, inescapable poverty. They have to send their kids to failing public schools, massive unemployment, crime, violence, and disorder. These people have wrecked great American cities with this progressive urban policy.
Sheriff, yeah, something has to be done there.
Sheriff, do you think Donald Trump's appeal to African Americans will work in some measure?
I think over time, if he stays on it, look, I'm with black people a lot, and here's what they tell me. They say, you know what, we want to hear it. We want people to ask for our vote. See, the Democrats don't ask for their vote. They just automatically assume that it's going to happen. They take them for granted. So I think that over time, black people will find it refreshing that somebody's out there actually working for their vote, because the black vote has unfortunately monolithically gone to the Democrats, but the Democrats have taken blacks for granted. And I think over time, this thing is going to change.
Sheriff, what's your reaction to the president waiting so long to go visit the folks in Baton Rouge after all the flooding, and the fact that Black Lives Matters, those groups are not there either? They're being criticized for that.
Well, that's typical of the phony nature of these individuals. Look, he's an elitist. He's at Martha's Vineyard while American people are suffering down in Louisiana. I'll tell you, it just made my stomach sick to see what those people are enduring. But they're strong down there. They're resilient down there in Louisiana, as most Americans are across the United States. They didn't wait around for him to do anything, and like you said, he was pressured to go down there. So he'll do the obligatory thing now that the vacation's over. He'll do the photo op. He'll hug a couple people. He'll get back on the Air Force One and go about his day. Look, the Black Lives Matter. They don't care about black lives. They don't care about anybody's life. They only care about political power. This George Soros funded operation has exploited people for purely political power. I am not shocked. I've unmasked these people several years ago, including on your program. I told you this was a political construct, and it had nothing to do with black lives. This was an organized effort for the 2016 election to mobilize black votes.
Well, I got something else to do before we let you go. I got to get your comment on this 16-page guidance pamphlet, these memos. handed out to relief workers so they understand how to hand out relief in a non-racist fashion, prioritizing neighborhoods over race, and they go into detail on it. Here's a tearaway of it. It says, hey, care must be taken to assure that actions both intentional and unintentional do not exclude groups of people based on race, color, and national origin. Is that a big help?
No, look, President Obama views everything through the prism of race. He's a race hustler. He engages in race politics. Every time you turn around, this guy could take a bowl of cornflakes with chocolate milk poured in it, he could find some racist angle to it. Those people, when they got those memos down in Louisiana, they should have put them in the shredder. They know what to do. They'll do this thing right. They don't have racism in their hearts. Only Barack Obama has racism in his heart.
Sheriff David Clarke, always a pleasure to get your point of view. Joining us live from Milwaukee today. Sir, thank you very much. Have a great week.
Sheriff.